Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shunam Hangvi Sankirtan Yagya ki.
There she is. Front row. Give her the front row seat. Front row seat. Come on. Princess. You get special seat of honor. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavade Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I see some new faces that weren't here in the morning session or yesterday evening session. And I don't think it's fair to ask everybody to hear the review of those two classes. So I'll just do a little mini summary. How's that? The theme for this particular Japa retreat is from verse number 4 from Upadesh Amrita that has 6 activities or conditions that are favorable for bhakti. Starting with enthusiasm, utsaha, nishayat, and dhairyat. And they go well together. One of the outstanding parts of the first class was a very unique definition of enthusiasm. And then we broke those different parts into little pieces and discussed the pieces and put it back together again. Endeavor. Enthusiasm is endeavoring with intelligence in Krishna consciousness. Very simple. So what's intelligence in Krishna consciousness? What is Krishna consciousness? What is enthusiasm? What is endeavoring? And and its opposite, complacency, lethargy, specific to bhakti, but specific to the part of bhakti that we're engaged in here, that is chanting. Then in this morning's class, there was another nice topic, and that is chanting from the heart. We discussed what does that mean. What does it mean? So, yeah, when you intuitively know, but how do you define it? Besides intuitively, we know. I gave a nice example of we know. I don't mind at all appreciating kirtaniers, and one of my favorite kirtaniers amongst many kirtaniers is Madhava Prabhu. He's from a different part of the world, and his accent is different, and there's lots of differences. His ornamentation is also very different, but from the heart. And when you hear his kirtan, and he says after his singing very slowly and meditatively, inviting the response, just before the response, from the heart, so that by the time you've attended his kirtan, you're with him because he's from the heart. And you feel it. At least I feel it. And it's palpable. And it's a qualitative kind of calling of the holy name, where one is offering oneself, or one can say one is offering one's heart to the Supreme. But what is it that we're offering? What is it that we have that we can offer to the Supreme? Everything comes from Him. So it's His already. So what can we offer? His. And more than His is Him. The Vachaka manifestation of Krishna, just like the Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation, and the name is the Vachaka incarnation. It's the sound vibration of Him. So we're offering Him to Him with love, with feeling, with genuine sense of purpose. It's restoring a relationship, as Prabhupada said so many times. Here's a very nice Prabhupada story. Once upon a time, Prabhupada started in a formal way. He started the Hare Krishna movement at 26 2nd Avenue. There's a nice biography of how that happened, and Mukunda Goswami had a very important role to play in finding the place and then gathering up the funds and making a deposit, and matchless gifts became the Hare Krishna temple. And how it began, you all know this little story. How it began was chanting Hare Krishna. There was 3 nights of the week, Kirtan, Bhagavad Gita, Kirtan, Prasadam. 3 nights of the week. And it started, that was after a year of nothing, and then there was something. And it started to grow and became very popular, and after some time, it wasn't just chanting and responding, but the devotees were clapping, and then it was dancing, and the whole room was, the audience was looking forward to coming and dancing with the Swami. I mean, because that's how he was called at that time, the Swami. And it was dancing and dancing and dancing and dancing, and then Kirtan, then Bhagavad Gita, then Kirtan. At a certain point in time, I wasn't there, but I was told by Satsvarup Maharaj, this is the sequence, Brahmananda, who was a big devotee, in more than one sense of the term, being big devotee, he was a big devotee, he made the request. He was like in charge, because he was a big devotee. And he asked Prabhupada very humbly and gently, is it okay if we can do this out in the public? And Prabhupada's reply was, I was just waiting for you to ask. Then he said yes, and he said, but please get a permit because I don't want to have difficulty with the police. So they got a permit to go to Tompkins Square Park And there's a video, maybe you've seen it, they have, a big bass drum, boom, boom, no mridanga, just, and big, instead of, they'd have cartels, they had big cymbals, like you play at an orchestra. Marching down 8th Street to get to Tompkins Square Park, and they sat in the park underneath an elm tree, very old, tall tree. And the devotees sat down and peacefully, because that was what permitted, and kirtan. And it went on for 3 hours in Tompkins Square Park. And people gathered around like, what planet is this man from? We've never seen anything like this before. And a big crowd. And then at the end of 3 hours, I wasn't there, Satsrup Maharaj told me, Prabhupada stood up. And that celebrated photograph, and each village other, and Prabhupada with his hands folded in front of him. And imagine this, the little drama with the scene. Here's a world acharya in the making, his first public speech. What's he going to say? What would you say? First public speech. And, hippies and all kinds of interesting looking people, New York City people. So his words were, I've not come to teach something new. I've come to remind you of that which you have forgotten. Pretty cool, huh? I mean, there's many things he could have said, but that's what he said. And then he went on to who you really are. Who you really are. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 and so forth. And he kept it simple because that was the atmosphere at the time. And then invited people to come to 26 Second Avenue and distributed cut pieces of apple and prasadam offered to Krishna, and went marching back to Tompkins to 26 Second Avenue. That was how it began. To remind us that which we have forgotten. And that's the Hare Krishna mantra. So what is it we've forgotten? Our relationship with Krishna. So the mantra is a way of restoring our relationship with Krishna. In a very direct and simple way. You offer Krishna to Krishna. Krishna's name to the Krishna the person, and Krishna's name and Krishna the person are different, but beginners in chanting don't know that. Even if they hear that, they don't know that, they don't have that realization. But by purification and removing of coverings, then gradually, very gradually, that realization may come by purification and awakening. So that's a good reason for. This is class number 3, and one of the questions I raised in class number 2 was this one, and I'll just expand on it a little bit as I did in class number 2. And that is, from October 1 to October 7 every year is China National Holiday. Just we have our Independence Day and Memorial Day and Thanksgiving Day, and we have our holidays. They have theirs. And it commemorates when Mao kicked out whoever was in charge before, and the Communist Party would, yay, People's Republic. All power to the people, All power to the people. So they have a 7-day holiday. 7 days. And workaholic people that don't work for 7 days, what are they going to do? They come to a Hare Krishna festival. At least some people do. So we had our Hare Krishna festival this year in Sri Lanka. Why Sri Lanka? 2 reasons. Chinese citizens don't need a visa. And India wasn't giving visas, and vice versa. So we went to a place where they could go without a visa. The second was Sundarakanda. It was really nice. introducing the Chinese devotees to Hanuman and Sundarakanda and the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. The whole Sundarakanda is wonderful. It's Sundara. Very beautiful. And every day, for 7 days, that means 14 times, I ask them, please contemplate, why are you here? Or why are we here? But even more personally, why are you here? But I said it enough times, hopefully some people were asking themselves the question, why am I here? Not like in a negative sense, but if you don't ask questions, you're not likely to get an answer, even if it bonks you on the head. But if you're asking the question, even some hint from Super Soul or from material nature or from someone, it may enter. And why is a very important question. Like, why are we here? What's our expectation? Hint, we're getting to, the end of this presentation is for all of you to take 5 minutes, whatever, minutes, a few minutes, and write a sankalpa for this event. Sankalpa means your intention. What is it that why are you here? What is it that you hope to accomplish? And you can, say something simple like, I want to improve my chanting. Okay. In what ways would you like, and why? Keep asking the why question, and you'll get closer to what's inside. Because a lot, we spend some time, the prior discussions, sometime on these utsahan nishchaya daryat. They're not visible. But you can experience when they're present, you can experience when they're absent. It's subtle. Like a soul. Who has seen a soul? We know we have one. Who has seen a mind? Have you seen a mind somewhere? Nowhere. But we know we have one. I mean, most people have one. And intelligence. There's a function of the mind, but we don't see. But there's a function. So, why is even more subtle? And this why is a nice question, and one of the reasons that inspired me is this fellow you see on the screen here, Simon Sinek. He has this teaching, or enthusiastic teaching, on many people spend their inquisitiveness and outlying circles without the why question. And the why question really drives the other ones. For example, because everyone likes nice examples. For example, supposing we spent a lot of time on tools for improving japa. Most of us have had the experience of this tool, that tool, the other tool. I can suggest some, but I'm not going to do that right now. And what happens is the tool that you pick up, and it's like a child with some toys. They will play with a toy for a while, and then their attention goes somewhere else. And then you get another toy, and then they're some time, and so they need a lot of toys because the attention span is short. But when there's why behind, you not just have a tool, but the why and the how. Then that's life. That gives life to the tool. And then you can stay with whatever the tool is. So when we do our little sankalpa exercise, it's not academic, it's personal. And if you have a clear idea, if you take it seriously, the why question, here's another graphic showing the same, then the how and the what becomes easy and have strength, vitality, purpose. And then the shape of the how and the what takes on some meaning. And it has less, it's less likely to fade because the why is clear. If you get used to me being around a little bit, you'll see I like graphics. So here's a graphic. This is life. On the one side, there's birth, on the other side, there's death, and that little guy sitting in the middle, that's us, looking at life. And life is what goes in between birth and death. So if you don't ask the question, why, what's it all about? There's songs about it, and they're nice songs. But if any one of us doesn't ask such question, life is dull and lifeless. Probably everyone in the room has asked that question with different language. Here's mine, when I was a college kid. 3 things. It's inquisitiveness, jigyasu, Brahma jigyasu, inquiring about Brahman, the absolute truth. So my way, nice college kid way of looking at it, pious, brought up in a nice Christian family and all those nice things. There's a higher reality besides stuff. 1. 2, what it is, I don't know. It's good to know what you don't know, because it adds to your inquisitiveness. It can. And then the third is, I really want to know. 1, 2, 3. And that's how I got started, because I was inquisitive and wanted to know. What is this higher reality that I don't know, but I want to know? And it led me to this and that and the other thing and the other thing, and led me to Bhagavad Gita, led me to the right Bhagavad Gita after reading 7 other translations of Bhagavad Gita that I couldn't understand. And so forth and so on. And so here we are, at least here I am, by asking those, deeper questions rather than just, the how to something on the material side without any spiritual purpose behind it. So now my question to all of you, why bhakti? And probably some of us went through the exercise of eliminating this and that and the other thing and the other thing, and there's a few things standing, and bhakti was one of the few things standing, because we contacted, or somebody contacted us with Prabhupada's teachings or the translations of this and that, or a little book or something. And those initial questions led to other questions, led to this one, why bhakti? Out of the assortment of options that are in front of us, why bhakti? That's the topic. And as we became acquainted with bhakti, we found that there's nice teachings about bhakti. They're very cogent, they're very comprehensive. And one of them, from Rupa Goswami's teachings, stages of bhakti, starting with Shraddha and ending with Prema. A very nice rendering of these 9 stages of bhakti is found in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's writings. I like his writing approach and style. So one of the things that he writes is, these 9 stages of bhakti are just different stages of faith. The first one is faith, and the next one is faith, and the next one is faith, and then there's the mature stage of prema. And actually it keeps going. So what is it? What is this faith, or what is this attraction? What is it about prema that attracts us? I mean, before I even heard the word prema, this is me. I was growing up in a Christian family, in a nice young boy in a Christian family, you go to Sunday school. You know, we go to Sunday school in the Hare Krishna movement too. You go to Sunday school? Sure. Shri Nitai Sachinandana ki jai. So when I was in Sunday school, I started hearing about heaven. So I had, you know, sincere, inquisitive, young boy. I asked Mom and Dad, what's it like there? They didn't say they didn't know. But by their answer, I could understand. They didn't know. But we're supposed to want to go there, right? It's a good place, heaven. What's it like there? Don't ask. Just want to go there. Okay. So I asked a priest, and he didn't say I don't know, but he didn't know. You know, I've asked a few other sources, and no answers. So I didn't exactly feel frustrated, but I felt not satisfied. And besides, there are other things pressing, like be successful. And be successful doesn't include asking the why questions, or, you know, what's there, what's the spiritual world, what's heaven, what's this place of higher consciousness. Just do well in your academics. And do well socially, and if you're a young boy growing up in America, it's sports. 3 things, check those boxes, successful. So I did that for about 20 years. And then a little light went on saying, really? That's it? Isn't there a higher reality? And what is it? So I started asking again. Little light went on. There's some things that helped that to happen. So, what is it about bhakti, or what is about prema bhakti, that attracts us? And it was a nice question, nice research, and eventually it came to an answer from the Upanishads, rasa vaisaha. The absolute truth is rasa. When one understands the personality of God at the reservoir of pleasure, Krishna, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. We all want happiness, but what is it? Ice cream? A birthday party? You know, or whatever. I just got through addressing a question of a teenager that's experiencing boy-girl stuff. And they don't know how to handle it. So, how do you deal with stuff like that when you're a young person growing up and you don't have a place of shelter? Or you do, but you really don't. You have a notional, but not a real place of shelter. So it's tough. I mean, material life is tough. And going from material life to spiritual life, it's a transition that's even more tough than, being a teenager, going from dependence to independence, or, so-called independence. So, rasa, that's what attracts us. Taste. What's rasa? One way, it's a literal translation is it's juice, because juice has taste. Without a whole explanation, because that's one of the topics that's going to be on the agenda for Monday evening. What's rasa? But that's what's attractive to us. And that means being attracted to Krishna, because he is rasa. He is the reservoir of all rasa. And then sometimes we find in bhakti that somebody begins, and after some time they're slackening. So why is there slackening? Because rasa is nice. So that's the topic that I wanted to explore. And a big assist comes from Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbha, and he gives 2 reasons, and then subdivisions of those 2. 1, clouds in the sky, and mist. He uses these 2 metaphors. Poets use metaphors. So there's the sun in the sky, but there's clouds that block the sun, the heat and light of the sun. So you don't experience the fullness of the heat and light of the sun because of mist and clouds. And mist can be more quickly evaporated. Maybe you've had the experience. It's quite common in India, I've had the experience, in the early morning hours, because during the day it's very hot, at the night it becomes cool, and then on the just above the surface of the earth, there's mist, or like that mist, fog, low hanging something, and then when the sun rises, poof, it's gone, just like poof. So similarly, using this metaphor, sin can be quickly destroyed. The reactions of sin can be quickly destroyed by the appearance of bhakti. But there's something that makes it more difficult than just sin, and that's offense. And offense is more heavy, like the clouds in the sky that don't just disappear when the sun comes out in the morning. They linger longer. And from offense, then there's consequences of offense. So in Jiva Goswami's writings, he presents effects that come, outcomes that arise from offense. And where in this list of 5, he says he writes, these are most prominent. And of the 5, number 1 of the 5, so it's number 5, is pride. And pride is like the foundation of these other ones, like you see on the screen here. Kautilyam, or crookedness, presenting oneself dishonestly, often rooted in pride. So pride is the root, and what is pride resting upon? It's easy. False ego. Our dear friend. False ego. Not our dear friend, but very close to us at least. According to the teachings of the Bhagavatam, Canto 2 and Canto 3, in the process of creation, the first thing when the living entities enter into the field of pradhan or prakriti, the first thing that happens, false ego. And then other subtle layers upon the false ego, but it's like, it's the first thing to come, it's the last thing to go. So it's pernicious, it's very stubborn, doesn't go away easily, pride. And from pride, so many other things. So one of those so many other things is this crookedness. And Jiva Goswami is writing about this. You see the section. You can look it up later if you like. Starting with Anucheda 153. This crookedness he characterizes this way, starting with Vishnu Dharma. Truth is destroyed by 100 obstacles. Penance by 1,000. Human beings' devotion to Lord Govinda is destroyed by 10,000 obstacles if one is insincere. So insincere is crooked. The opposite of sincerity is crookedness. You pretend X when it's not X. It's not really sincere. And let me give you a guess. A really easy guess. What's a nice example of crookedness? Of someone being insincere, but there's no devotion to Lord Govinda. A nice example that Jiva Goswami gives is Duryodhana. There were 2 occasions when Krishna was visiting Hastinapur for the purpose of peace settlement, and he came, and Duryodhana had a plan. He was going to butter him up and win him over and get him on his side, because they're all cousins, but Krishna's very powerful amongst all the cousins. So reception, big assembly. He said what he said, and publicly invited Krishna to dine with him for lunch. It's a classic way of honoring someone. So Krishna's reply was Kautilya. And his reply was, there are two reasons why one might eat. One is if you're hungry. I'm not hungry. But even if you're not hungry, you might eat if there's love. Somebody prepares something. I'm going to tell Prabhupada's story. Is it okay? I have a tendency to, embellish too much. But it's a nice story. This is Prabhupada's servant, Shrutakirti. Shrutakirti told the story that he being the servant of Prabhupada, there was a secretary, correspondence and making arrangements for travel and secretarial things, and he was the servant. That means whatever Prabhupada needed, he would attend to. So Prabhupada's health was really bad for like 10 days. And he hadn't eaten anything for 10 days. So in a very soft voice, weakened from not eating and not well, softly he called Shrutakirti, and he came to his side, to bedside, and said, I'd like you to make some utma. And Shrutakirti said to Prabhupada, oh, very good. Jamuna is just over there in the kitchen. I'll have her make some right away. Prabhupada firmly, like, no, I want you to make utma. Now, Shrutakirti was known to be a submissive, loving servant, but not a cook. But he wanted him to make the utma. So, yes, Prabhupada, because what the spiritual master wants, that's it. So he ran to the kitchen, and there was Jamuna doing something, and he broke the good news. Prabhupada wants some utma. And she said, oh, fantastic, Prabhupada taught me how to make utma. He stopped her and said, no, he wants me to make it. And he expected some resistance, like, what do you know about cooking? Or something like that. Because she knew that he didn't know. She didn't, none of that. Oh, very well, then I'll just assist you, because she knew how to make it. And so, when Shrutakirti was narrating this, that's what struck my attention, or my heart, is what a surrendered person. No ifs, ands, or buts. Prabhupada wants, that's it. I'll assist you. And then she assisted and this and that, and the utma was offered, and he brought the bowl of utma to Prabhupada. And went about his other duties and came back later, and the utma was just sitting there. And Shrutakirti commented, it looks like you haven't had any utma. And then Prabhupada explained, this is another heart-touching response. Prabhupada said, I thought if you made utma, then maybe I would get some appetite. But I have no appetite. And guess what that did for Shrutakirti's heart? It touched his heart. Because his message was love. You can eat even when you're not hungry if there's love. I mean, Prabhupada knew the Mahabharata. That's what his message was. And he didn't explain his message, but Shrutakirti understood it. And the way he described the letter, was you could hear his voice quiver. It touched his heart, even as he was narrating it. That's what Prabhupada's, the kind of person that Prabhupada was. He knew how to touch people's hearts. He knew their heartstrings. But crooked is when it's not genuine. Here's another reference that Jiva Goswami gives. Parashara Muni speaking in Skanda Purana. In this world, impious, foolish, and crooked people do not attain devotion to Lord Govinda, and they cannot chant or remember the Lord. So crookedness is one more time, is a byproduct of offense. And it's subtle, crookedness. But you can feel it, you can detect it, you can sense it, and it has an impact. It makes bhakti impeded significantly. So another in his list of 5 is ashraddha, or lack of faith, particularly in Shastra. That is, not believing in the Lord, His name, or His devotees, or any combination. So the system that our Goswamis would use, Jiva Goswami was very consistent. He'd make a declaration, and then after making a declaration, he gives his scriptural support. That was the basis and foundation for the statement. He wouldn't just make statements. So here's one from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. If a person who has fallen into this fearful material existence helplessly chants the name of the Lord, which is feared by fear personified, he, the chanter, is immediately delivered by the power of the name. Now it's Canto 1, Chapter 1. It's a fundamental teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam towards the very beginning of the entire Bhagavatam. But if one doesn't have faith in Scripture, then you're not going to have faith in what the Scripture speaks about. And an essential part, certainly in Srimad Bhagavatam, certainly in Lord Chaitanya's teachings, is the power of the name. Here's Vishnu Purana. This is Prahlad Maharaj. It's not the same, it's not directly like this in Srimad Bhagavatam, but Vishnu Purana. It is not by my power, my own power, that the tusks of these elephants, which were as hard as the tips of a thunderbolt, got smashed. It is only the effect of continuous remembrance of Lord Janardana, who destroys all great calamities. Of the 9 processes of bhakti, Prahlad is remembrance. And by his remembrance of the personality of Godhead, along with everything else that Prahlad is made up of, that smashed the tusks of the elephant when the elephants came to harass him under the order of his father. So he was protected by bhakti. And if there's a lack of faith, then you're not going to be protected the same way that Prahlad was protected in any case. And then this is from the 19th chapter of Canto 1. O Brahmanas, may you as well as Mother Ganga know me as a surrendered soul, having fixed my mind on the Lord. Let the treachery conjured by the Brahmana consume me. Maharaj Parikshit speaking. Or let the snake Takshaka bite me. Just go on singing the glories of Lord Vishnu. Right in Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's faith. In the face of death, in the face of mad elephants, in the face of material existence, having faith. But there are those that have lack of faith or poor faith for different reasons, and that's the byproduct of offense, according to what Jiva Goswami writes in Bhakti Sandarbha. So if you're not trembling in your boots yet, you better get ready to tremble in your boots, because we want to very carefully avoid offense. Bhagavan Nishtha Chavaka. Nishtha we know, the stage of steadiness in bhakti. Bhagavan Nishtha Chavaka, where there's a lack of focus in having firm faith in Bhagavan, or loss of focus on Bhagavan. Instead, if you lose focus on Bhagavan, what happens? Other things take his place. So then one becomes absorbed or obsessively absorbed in things that are detrimental to bhakti. So that's one of the 6 symptoms of surrender, isn't it? Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Accept things favorable, reject things unfavorable. That's like starting point for surrender and favorable bhakti. So if one isn't having, these are progressive, and again, rooted in pride, absorption in unfavorable things. Now many of us have given up many unfavorable things just in the course of the purification of bhakti. And many of us have lingering affinity for some temporary things that are not necessarily favorable or are unfavorable. And we hold on to them, and in a crooked way, we don't want them to be disclosed because it's embarrassing, but we're holding on to some things. And you have to let go of those things. That was one of the lessons from the first class. Out of the 5, bhakti, saitilya, laziness in practice, or lack of effort, and enthusiasm. This is the utsaha message. When that slackens, when enthusiasm slackens, Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses this phrase a lot in his writings. He uses it particularly in slacking in submission, but slacking in enthusiasm for sadhana. Because what's sadhana anyways? It's a gesture of extending oneself by vidhis of sadhana towards the Supreme. And supposing that, I call it the sine curve. You know that one. Just like, maybe some of you have been anticipating this Japa retreat and are kind of like, load me up. I'm ready to go, 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 go. Let's see what happens in, the next week or 1 month. So we need to charge our battery regularly, that's fine. But the tendency is, the lack of sustained enthusiasm for sadhana or sadhana bhakti or chanting or anything, bhakti, devotional, laziness, complacency, bhakti saitilya. And then number 5, this is a longer Sanskrit, sva bhaktyadi krita manitvam. So mana is mind, and tvam is having the quality of somethingness. Tvam. So manitvam. It's one of our favorite verses in the Bhagavatam. Manitvam. So krita manitvam. Swa bhaktyadi krita manitvam. Pride in one's bhakti. So supposing there are certain devotees that are really good with kirtan. And I meant to say something, but I decided to not say something. Just in the morning, there was a nice devotee singing. And last night, nice devotee singing. And I was thinking, I didn't say something because he may think, yes, I'm really good in kirtan. Yes? So, if you're really good at something, people will appreciate that something. And then what happens to that appreciation? Does it stick? Or does it get passed on? It's important, because we want to do something nicely, And when some recognition comes for that doing something nicely, where does it go? So that's this number 5. Pride in one's bhakti. You know, our pujaris are doing a nice job in serving the deities nicely, and you can say, oh, Pujari Prabhu, you're doing such a nice job, the deities look so wonderful, and look at all these nice ornaments, and then upcoming is another big festival, and what's your plan, and oh wow, you know, so what's that Pujari supposed to do with this praise, etc.? You know, don't do it nicely, that's easy. Mess up and people won't like it. That's not a solution. Do nicely. When you do nicely, some recognition. So the problem is forgetting Krishna. Not the problem is the praise. The problem is forgetting Krishna. So one of the simple. It doesn't stick. It goes to where you got that thing from. When people would praise Jamuna for her cooking, you know, it just went straight to Prabhupada. No, Prabhupada, it went straight to her because she was such a good recipient. And she really 3 times really wanted to please Prabhupada. So she learned about deity worship. She learned about cooking. She learned about many things. Learned about taking care of devotees. Because she was cared for, and what she felt from being cared for, the way that she was cared for. You know, and when Jamuna was around, there was a lot of macho stuff going on in the men's department. A lot of men like jockeying for sannyas, and you know, it was really embarrassing. Frankly, from the men's side, it was embarrassing. From the ladies' side, it was impressive. And you know, she survived because it didn't stick. You know, the positive negative didn't stick because it was just one thing, because you had a place of shelter. And she was able to communicate that to, you know, for some period of time she was in Sharanagati, and she just had an ashram of girls, and she was preparing them. I heard with my ears Janava Harrison, describing how Jamuna trained her. They both had fantastic voices. But she trained her how to handle the praise that would come when the praise would come later on. So she gave her, like, you know, not hiding places, but transparency places where your consciousness should go and where you place that praise that comes, is going to come. Because she saw. Anyway. So these are 5 items in Bhakti Sandarbha that are reasons why bhakti may slacken, although it may go da 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 da. So we all of us commonly in the beginning, bhakti is fantastic, you know, enthusiasm plus. And then after some time, something happens. And it's just not the same. And what's that something that happens? According to Jiva Goswami, it's the reactions of offense. And not only in this, he is very clear, not only in this lifetime offense, but stuff from before. Who knows? Who knows how many lifetimes we've been at this program? Can anyone say? How many lifetimes? And is this going to be the last one, or are we going to have a whole bunch more ahead of us? And is there something that can be done to, like, put a full stop to the over and over again thing? And that's the restoring of bhakti. Bhakti rasa. So that's this attraction for the experience of being in Krishna's association that we've forgotten. And that was Prabhupada's message to the Tompkins Square Park audience. I've not come to teach something new, just to remind you of that which you have forgotten. Now, sankalpa, a little bit about sankalpa. Sankalpa is a declaration of your intent, as demonstrated here. In Tattva Sandarbha of Jiva Goswami, he describes that the Vedas are very, very special amongst wisdom literature, without all the details of how he gets there. And there's mantras within the texts of the Vedas to fulfill all desires. Therefore, the Vedas are sometimes compared to a desire tree, a kalpa vriksha. Kalpa vriksha, a desire tree. And so brahmanas are approached because they can reach into this box of mantras, and you tell them what your intention is, and they'll pull out the right mantras from the box, and then perform a yajna, and then with that intention, swaha, swaha, the offering of grains and ghee into the fire representing the tongue of Lord Vishnu, and it's a sacrifice to Lord Vishnu, who is accepting. This is the intention, accompanied by mantras. That's a Vedic system. So it's very important for a brahmana to know what's your sankalpa. You know, I want to do well in school. Great. I want a good husband or a good wife. Great. I want long life. Great. I want health. You know, how many desires are there? How many mantras are there? How many yajnas are there? But that's the procedure. It's driven by, decided by sankalpa. Here's a classic example. Janamejaya, the grandson of Maharaj Parikshit, after he was killed by Takshaka, he requested the brahmanas to form a yajna that would kill all the snakes in the world. And there they are, falling from the sky with powerful mantras, and the snakes were burned alive. And it was stopped, because it's not all the snakes in the world that caused your grandfather's death. One snake, please. So stop. So he stopped. The brahmanas stopped, and the yajna stopped. So, message, sankalpa is important. Sankalpa is important in karmakanda. Sankalpa is important in life. Sankalpa is important in japa. So we're going to have, as we do sometimes, we're going to have a little sankalpa exercise. And sankalpa exercise means you have some paper. If you don't have some paper, everybody has a handheld device of one kind or another. A phone or something. So I'm going to ask you to meditate on why. Why are you here? What is it you hope to achieve? Here's George Harrison. His sankalpa is very clear, really clear. I really want to know you. I really want to see you. I really want to be with you. And there's the woo-woo-woo part, the musical thing. But his intention is very clear. And it was powerful. It affected many people. Many people. Many people. Many people became devotees because of George Harrison and his bhakti. Not because he was an initiated devotee, but because he was very clear of his intention. And consistently very clear. Like these biographies describe the clarity of George Harrison. Very, very strong. From the way it grew and it grew and it grew. And when he met Prabhupada, that was it. It was no longer, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. It was Prabhupada. And the mantra. Here's a little George Harrison story. As a celebrity, he was vulnerable. So one of the things that happened in his life was a burglar broke into his mansion, his home, and started stealing stuff. And he heard upstairs in his bedroom, he heard the noise, and he came to the balcony area of the bedroom, and he saw this guy stealing stuff. So what are you going to do if you're George Harrison, or if you're a devotee? he took shelter of the holy name. According to, because this was in the record and the hearing, because they caught the guy. And then they brought him to jail. And he was a witness. He had to testify under oath. He stood at the balcony and screamed the Hare Krishna mantra at the top of his lungs, like several times, and then came running down the stairs, screaming the Maha Mantra. And the burglar thought, this is a madman, and he ran from the house. Later he was caught and put, on trial and under oath. That's what George Harrison, he just took, because that was his place of shelter. It was real. It wasn't just musical. There's musical. That's nice. But it's him. And because of, one of the slides that we showed many times was when that enters into your heart, you become an instrument of Krishna to inspire others. He didn't go on Harinam Sankirtan. He just did his music. And it inspired many, many, many people. Many people. Deeply, permanently. So, here we go. This is the Sankalpa exercise. I'm going to stop speaking, and you're going to go inside and ask yourself the question, why? What is it that you would hope to accomplish by coming to this Japa retreat? And hearing, receiving tools, but the why underneath everything else. That's the topic. And I'm going to stop speaking, and you're going to start introspecting and write. You have something to write? Oh yes, you have something. Okay. Clear, yes? I'll stop speaking. Please proceed. A few things. One of the things I've learned about exercises like this, when heads start popping up, that means it's time to end. Another is, this is my sankalpa. And that there are sources for this. One of them is Shyamasundar Prabhu in Houston is really absorbed in chanting. So this, he sent this to me and said, this I put in my japa table every day when I'm chanting japa. And he chants like a lot of japa. And I shared this at other japa retreats, and just 2 days ago someone said, on Ekadasi, no, the day after Ekadasi, the Dwadasi, this image came in their mind, and the message. It's just being present with Krishna, and as you're chanting, be with the holy name. And it's very simple. Here's another nice teaching. Those of you that like nice teachings, with deity worship, Prabhupada taught there are two most important things: cleanliness and punctuality. Standard, cleanliness and punctuality. And I said that on one situation. I was in Hartford, Connecticut, and Jivanasati, who is the temple president's wife, said, Mother Jamuna taught me a third item, and that is be present. Cleanliness, punctuality, and being present. From Prabhupada, she heard. And it's true. I mean, it's just, is it possible to be distracted even when engaging in deity worship? Your mind can be who knows where. So be present. When doing some direct service for the deity or the name or the Bhagavatam or the Vaishnava or something, be present, please. And it makes a big difference of the exchange between you and the object or the person who is being served, the deity or the Bhagavatam or the message of the Bhagavatam, etc. Being present. So that's what this is with chanting. Be present and know that Krishna is with you in reciprocation. And the opposite is true. If you're distracted, okay, you don't really want me, okay, fine. But you really want me? I'm here. So a devotee shared this with me, that the day after Ekadasi, which was Dwadasi, this image appeared in his mind, and he said he felt Krishna just lifted him. He'd never experienced japa like this before. The day before was 77 rounds. The day after, on Dwadasi, it was just 17, but it wasn't the struggle 17. It wasn't trying 17. He was lifted. He felt something supernatural or wonderful or exhilarating. And so our experience on 64 round day is not necessarily going to be what his experience was. It's going to be whatever it is. That's what it's going to be. But be present with Krishna, and he'll see your presence, and he'll reciprocate in his own way. That's the nature. One of my favorite sayings is, when you surrender unto Krishna, please remember it's on his terms. Means Krishna isn't our order supplier. Om Jai Jagadisha Hare. I want this, that, the other thing. Om Jai Jagadisha Hare. The surrender is another platform. Being present with Krishna. He's the master, I'm the servant. That's it. That's it. Like Jamuna. Prabhupada wants you to cook. You don't know any beans about cooking, no problem. I'll just be your assistant. So that's the servant mood. What the master wants, that's what I want. And by that being present with Krishna, he'll be with us for sure. Now, the end, we're going to take maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. This is a recording of, you see that little horn up in the upper left corner? That means there's an embedded sound. The sound is Prabhupada chanting at 61 Second Avenue. So what happened historically was after 26 Second Avenue, they outgrew the place. The place was packed 3 nights of the week. And so they leased another place, which was across the street, 61 Second Avenue, and up second floor, kind of like a loft space, more space. And during that period of time is when this recording was made. It's Prabhupada chanting japa with the devotees. And you'll hear it. At a certain point in time, Prabhupada stops and says sternly, "Sit properly." And a devotee named Nayana Baram told me, that was me. He said I was sitting like a sack of potatoes, leaning against the Vyasa-san. And Prabhupada saw me sitting like that, lazy japa. Sit properly. So, sit properly. We sit properly before Prabhupada, raises his voice and tells us to sit properly. And we're going to spend a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, hearing Prabhupada chanting. And he chants swiftly. This recording is particularly swiftly. You don't have to keep cadence with him. Your own speed, because what's important is attentiveness and not speed. So here we go. So literally, take your bead bag, or if you don't have your bead bag with you, that's okay. Use your fingers or something. We'll chant 5 minutes. Oh boy. Oh, come on. Go ahead. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Okay. It's that time. We're going to take a little bit of time for discussion, to integrate some of these messages. My experience with audiences like this is really good questions, and the thought that someone is carrying is going to help them and help others immensely from when we have our 64 round day. It is what it is because of the holiday breakup. So there's a day's interval, but tomorrow evening, Friday evening, will continue. Jamuna Jivana will continue. So during the day, people will do what they're going to do for work or whatever. If you don't have work, use to an obligation of performing your occupational duty like that. Take some time and invest in what you've heard and preparing further. Perhaps some increase of the number of rounds beyond your minimum prescribed rounds. And then some advice as far as possible for the 64 round day. Three things. Try to take rest early, and so that you can get up early, so you can start chanting early. And a little sharing. Some of you are busy because of work. During this past weekend, there was a Vyasa Puja event, and Gopal Bhatta Prabhu kindly came all the way from California to attend, and he gave a little, pep talk on what we need to do to keep Prabhupada at the center. Then one of the things, because he's busy, as many of us are, he described, he'd made a decision some years ago that he, being very busy, he wanted to have all of his rounds chanted by, what time was it, he said? 16 rounds by 4:30 in the morning. I don't do that. But he does that, and he's been doing that for years. Probably with some exception of health and other circumstances of life. But otherwise, 360 days of the year, by 4:30 in the morning, he has 16 rounds completed. He's now at the stage, he shared this with me personally, he didn't share this publicly. He's, incrementally increased up to X number of rounds daily on top of his 16, vrata. And, he's inching, so it's good. So tomorrow isn't a Japa retreat day, but if you can increase, do so. Whatever works for you, but consider some increase. And then for the following day, Saturday, this is our 64 round day. Rise early, begin early. In some places, anyway, in some places we start really early. The temple room doors are open at 2 o'clock. In Houston, it's open at 12 o'clock. Anyway, because there's some very enthusiastic devotees in Houston. So, rise early, chant early, and then sustain that through the day. And one of the important ways to sustain it through the day, I'll say it again, modest eating. Don't have a big breakfast, and certainly don't have a big lunch, because then you'll torpedo. You'll be out of action. Even if you had a nice morning, it's tough. So, lesson to be learned. And at the end of the day, we'll have a little sharing session of what people experienced was like. And then Namayagya, nice chanting. Yes. Yeah. You all know. If you don't know, shh. Silence. That's Mona Vrata. during the day on Saturday. So comments, questions? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, when we are doing a mala and someone comes to talk to us in the middle of the mala, then should we stop and talk to them? And how long a conversation is allowed while holding the bead?
You're talking about Saturday or every day?
Mostly happens during Sunday program.
During Sunday program?
Yeah, after the Prashadam, if I'm chanting mala.
Okay, here in the temple room like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a question like this is, it depends. Depends on the person, depends on the circumstance, it depends. So what do you do when you're chanting Gayatri and somebody wants to have conversation?
I don't chant Gayatri.
You don't chant Gayatri yet, okay. That day will come. You can convey a message without, insulting the person, or, it depends. Depends on the person, how urgent, the house is burning down. So it depends on depends on variables. You can hold your beads up in the air and show them, well, just point to how many beads you have left and give them the hand signal and just say, that's, Bhima, Prabhu, that's what he does. He goes like this. People understand what he means. I'm in the midst of something, let me complete that something. I'll get to you in a minute. So it depends on the person and the circumstance. You don't want to offend people. On the other hand, you want to stay focused. And then when a mantra or a series of mantras are completed, a round is completed, you pause. You have to pause respectfully. That's nice. Okay? But right behind you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thanks for an inspiring class on why and sankalpa.
Okay.
My question is related to yesterday's class on confidence.
Okay, fine.
Yesterday you presented a very good chart on confidence with 4 blocks.
Yeah.
Krishna loves me, Krishna got my back, protector and maintainer.
Yeah. That's it. Surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Krishna is his name and I'm in his presence.
Yeah.
Those 3 are wonderful. And the 4th one is the most important one for me. I'm capable of fully restoring my broken relationship with Krishna. That is where the problem, Maharaj. And you did mention, yesterday you nicely spoke about Utsaha and Nischaya Dhairya, developing enthusiasm, confidence and patience. In the process of developing that enthusiasm, patience and confidence, without falling into guilt or discouragement, how can we develop that?
Oh. Have you attended my classes before?
Yes, Maharaj.
You know my answer.
Sadhu Sangha.
Yeah. How 2 questions? 2 words. Sadhu Sangha. And then you can unpack Sadhu Sangha and look at the pieces and hold it up in the air and then put it back together again. Pack it up and it's Sadhu Sangha. There's elements. But if you find such persons, please do find such persons that are, it's sadhu. And you have friends with everyone and you're kind to everybody and all those nice things. And then there are persons who are in your life, they're sadhu-like. And you take shelter of sadhus and you serve them. And through the exchange, it's exactly the first day with those 3 slides, showing them again and again. Those persons can impact our life because they're sadhus. And we want to become sadhu-like. So you become sadhu-like by being with them, and you transfer their infection to others. The bhakti infection, the bhakti disease.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, sure.
I might fake or act in front of others, but I can't fake to myself, right?
Okay, good for you. But some people can deceive themselves, and they're good at it. They don't even recognize they're doing it until somebody taps them on the shoulder as a friend. And then if they're really a friend, they not can just let them go off in la la land. They're going to, excuse me, may I say, then they ask permission, and then they'll say. And if they're really a friend, you don't bite their hand because they tapped you on the shoulder. It's thank you.
Thanks, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah. It's good to have friends like that. And the door is open. They can say, and it's just fine. One devotee, I won't mention who, one devotee mentioned in the morning class there was a typo. And no one else has pointed it out. And he very kindly pointed it out and said, I hope I'm not being offensive, but 4 times around it, I've shown that same slide, just, no one pointed it out. I didn't even detect it. So thank you for pointing out, I'm in la la land. And, persons that are close to us, they know. Persons that aren't close to us, they have no business communicating like that anyways. But somebody that's close, they can say those things. And it's taken nicely. So it's nice.
Sure, thanks, Guru Maharaj.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Today in the presentation we read from Taittiriya Upanishad that when one understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, Krishna, he actually becomes transcendently blissful.
Yes.
What does understanding here include or mean?
Well, let me ask you a question. Supposing, have you fasted?
Yes.
And when you're fasting, what happens? Several things. For sustained fasting, you start to feel a little weak. You feel hungry, and your body feels a little weak. And then after fasting, it's time for breaking the fast, and you start to eat. And what happens? 3 things happen. It's like, this is scripture, but just paraphrasing. Strength comes back to the body. Hunger subsides, and you're feeling satisfied. That means somebody comes along and says, you like some more sabji, or you want some sweet rice, or tushti. No, thank you. I'm fine. So when you're full, you don't have, someone doesn't have to tell you, you've had enough to eat. Repeat after me. You can tell them, meaningfully. So, and that's what realization means. You know. Someone doesn't have to. So, and there are symptoms of that, and there are scriptural symptoms. The sochatina kangsati, for example. And there's other examples. You want some other examples? Here's some other examples. There's in the teachings of Lord Kapila to Devahuti, he describes, there's a series of verses of persons that are full. And they're long verses with several symptoms, but the symptoms manifest. You can't see their fullness, but you can see the symptoms of their fullness. Like the Sochatina Kangsati. Samak sarveshu bhuteshu. Yeah?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Symptoms, the lakshana, swarup lakshana.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have 2 questions.
2 questions.
Where my phone went. The first one is, I could guess that I've already heard the answer, but I just want to confirm that
Sure.
it's the answer.
Sure.
The question was about relating to the 5 items that you gave for why bhakti may slacken, specifically the last one, that pride in one's bhakti. I've heard multiple times that false ego it's not just like in a material sense, but we can get it as an obstacle to our bhakti. We may have ego in even our devotional practice.
Yes, you got it. That was, you're repeating what was there, number 5.
Right.
Yes.
So how does one recognize that? And so I figured
Easy. Who's at the center?
Krishna.
Well, if it's the other kind, it's not Krishna's at the center. It's easy. And supposing supposing there's a mix, because commonly there's a mix. But that's how you tell who's at the center. Anukulyena Krishnaro Shilanam. Is it really about Krishna's happiness, or is it a mix, or me? Okay?
So is that like, as you're doing some sort of service or anything that you engage in, you ask yourself that question? Like a
Yes,
self-check?
yes. And you become practiced at it, that's bhakti. You say it the other way. I want Krishna to be at the center, please. So, I'm not there yet. This is, the same set of questions, just the language is a little different, a little more mature, and action-oriented or service-oriented. And while I'm doing this service, why? This is the why question. Who's to be pleased by this? I want some recognition. And if I don't get recognition, I feel something. Let's take certain devotees. Let's take Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He did so much, and it was one condition, is don't mention my name. Right? It wasn't cosmetic. It was him. And look what happened. The Shalagram Shila manifested because he had a desire, a spiritual desire. So who can do that? The reciprocation, we do, but the Lord reciprocates with such devotee in most amazing ways. And that's another symptom that it's not me. It's Krishna is at the center. Next question.
The second question was just when we were doing Japa with Srila Prabhupada chanting as well.
Yeah.
I've heard that normally when we chant, the instruction is that as you chant, listen to what you are chanting.
Yes.
So I was wondering, what is the purpose of hearing maybe Srila Prabhupada or someone else chanting?
It's Sangha. That's the purpose. Ask this gentleman, he has the answer. Sadhu Sangha. You associate with you're attentive while you're in the assembly of many. It's going to happen. If you may be used to chanting in your own at home, that's fine. And this will be a situation we'll be with others. That's fine too. And when you're with others, you're immersed in chanting, and others chanting is further purification. And how do I relate to other souls that are engaged in service other than my service, chanting or any other service? It's Sangha. And the intention is that Krishna should be pleased, and Krishna will be pleased. Hold on to your seatbelt. We're going to take off on Saturday morning. Yeah? Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Recently, I'm getting some flashbacks about that I have judged certain people and devotees and their certain behaviors, and one of the causes of ashraddha is offenses, and now I'm feeling that I might have offended those people.
Might have, huh?
I think I have. Okay. they don't know it because it's in my mind.
Okay.
I've not verbalized that.
Okay.
So, is the practical way to send sorry texts to those people now, or is there another way of like?
Oh, there's multiple ways. It's certainly between you and them, but you know the medium is Krishna. So you stand before Krishna, or you know, and however you do it, before your deity or before Supersoul or however you know, the holy name, and you come clean. And it depends upon the person, circumstance, and your heart, and so forth. You don't have to. You have to not. It's like, it depends. We probably have all had that happen. That is something we may not even remember, and somebody else remembers because they're carrying it. And they say, you may not remember, but, some years ago, or da-da-da-da-da-da. And, I've been carrying that feeling more or less. Please forgive that offense. I don't know what you're talking about, but sure. So, no harm, no harm. It's part of becoming clean.
I had another question.
Yeah.
Excessive absorption in unfavorable things.
Sure.
That's just a past samskar, and it will just go away with time.
Well, yes and no. The yes is it's dependent upon how focused you are that Krishna is at the center. And the more focused you are that Krishna is at the center, that will evaporate the other shelters. But it won't just go away because of numerical passage of time or the number of rounds you chant or something like that. It's not mechanical. It's devotional. And it's a reciprocation, ultimately. And one more time, eradication of sin is far easier than eradication of offense. So now back to this question about, should I go to the person who I have offended and say, you may or may not remember, but I'm carrying this load and I want to become free from carrying this load. Please kindly extend your forgiveness. They may remember differently than you remember. We're persons, and so our memories are different. So a personal exchange is fantastic, and depends on the person and the circumstance and proximity and familiarity and all those other things. Okay? All right.
Hey Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. I had a question. I really do not like Japa.
You don't like Japa? Really? Welcome to the club. And now?
Is there a way I can do Japa without chanting?
I've never heard that question before. I've never thought about it.
Instead of doing 108 times, is there something else I can do which is equivalent to doing Japa?
That's your question. No substitute. Sorry, Charlie. No substitute. Now, you can go in increments. Increment means little by little. Do you know who is Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Yes, so do I. I like his writings because he's really simple. And one of the simple things he says is listen, I'll say it twice. Progress is a series of small steps in the right direction. It's good to know the direction. It's good to know your destination, where you want to go. Progress is small steps in the right direction. So, you don't like japa, given. And the chanting of the holy name is the primary benediction for this age of Kali, and we're in the age of Kali, for sure. Age of quarrel and dissension. So now, you want to know, is there a substitute? And the answer is no, but you don't have to like hit a home run first time to the plate. You can, it's baseball talk. You take steps in the direction. So, and the direction is Krishna should smile. And if that's in your heart, to the degree that that's in your heart, then it's easy. That's the why, and then the what and the how becomes subservient to the why. I want to see Krishna smile. Now I'm way over here and I'm feeling yuck. Or something like that. It's just like, I'm not attracted to this japa thing, the chanting thing. But I want to see Krishna smile, and I know Krishna will smile. So, it steps in the right direction. So, for you, some amount of time or some times around, make smaller japa beads instead of 108. You know that one? Yeah, you probably have a set already. So, 1/4 of that. Some young people do that. Some parents do that for their children. And then they feel, I chanted 4 rounds today. How many beads? 1/4 of 1 round. Anyway, so in steps in the right direction. And the direction, the purpose, Krishna should smile. And when Krishna smiles, everything's okay. Doesn't really matter. Just like Jamuna, she knows how to cook, and Shrutakirti doesn't know beans about cooking. And Prabhupada wants cooking. And Prabhupada wants Shrutakirti, so just help. That's bhakti. Whatever. Because Prabhupada will smile. Prabhupada wants. That's it. That's bhakti. So, for you in your growing up, here you are in the front row, and you don't really like japa, but you like hearing. So do a lot of hearing. Here's a lesson. Those things that you don't particularly like, do things that you really like, and feel energized and strength, and then take some strength from over there and put it over here. With the same principle. It's not about I like, it's about Krishna is pleased. And take them Krishna pleased Shakti, Hladini Shakti, and you'll feel differently because I'm doing this because Krishna will be pleased. And as you get a little older, there's lots of things that we do that are not yummy, but we do them because Krishna will be pleased. That's it. That's bhakti. That's it. And learn that and internalize that feeling that my happiness is that Krishna will smile. And then whatever it is. Like, school. Or you name it. How much you eat at each meal. The Krishna should smile. Don't eat too much. Don't eat too little. So Krishna will smile.
Thank you, Maharaj.
It's a principle to live by. I don't eat these things. I'm in school and kids are eating gobbledygook. And no thanks. And they may say, "What's wrong with you?" Or "What's up with you?" What's going on? And you just smile. Because you want Krishna to be pleased. It's simple. And that principle applies to all the other little things that make up life. You're young, you learn that principle, and you're set. Krishna should be pleased. That's bhakti. That's bhakti life. It's a nice principle, whether you like it or not. Because Krishna likes. So then why does Krishna like?
Because it's full of love.
Yeah. Yes, you got it. Let me tell you a little story. You want to hear a little story? Once upon a time, I was visiting in Singapore. Singapore's far away, and the over the crust ocean flight like torture. And I got the other side, and when I reached Singapore, it was like wee hours of the morning. And it was, dirty, and, I had to take a shower, just like smelly, not smelly, but, uncomfortable, sticky. So I took a shower. And I'm coming out of the shower, putting my dhoti on, and there's a knock on the door. It's a little girl, about your age. And, I didn't finish putting my dhoti on. I put the tilak on, but I didn't finish putting my dhoti on. And she didn't even wait till I answered the door. She just barged in the door. I'm still putting my dhoti on. She wanted to give me a gift. And the gift was a necklace of beads of different colors and different sizes. And she couldn't wait till I put my dhoti on to give me this gift. And it's still in my mind. Because it was the love with which she was offering. Not, it was convenient for me or convenient for her. It's just like she was bursting with, she was waiting for me to get there, and she couldn't wait any longer. She had to give me this necklace. I don't wear necklaces. Plastic beads of different size, different, you get the point. So you may be a little clumsy at chanting, but the meditation that Krishna should be pleased, that's it. And if that's your meditation, Krishna will help you. You'll feel it. It may not be like snap your fingers and Krishna is going to pick you up or something like that, but you'll feel it over time. It's a different quality of life, the quality of love. And little steps. Progress, here it is again. Progress is a series of small steps in the right direction. So what's the destination? What's the goal? What's the direction? Restoring our forgotten relationship with Krishna, that's it. So why is there I'm not so attracted? Because the love is covered. But when that love becomes uncovered, you can't stop talking about the person or saying their name or their pastimes or their activities or their qualities. Because of that, because love has now awakened. You're not there yet. Welcome to the club. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Do you have one question? Somebody have a question in the back?
Okay. Oh, we're done. Are we done? Okay. One last question.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, I've seen devotees mix reading with chanting at times. It's like they switch between reading and chanting. What's your feeling on that?
Intersperse. When you're reading, you're reading. When you're chanting, you're chanting.
Well, for my own case, sometimes I cannot like physically or mentally I cannot be focused anymore with chanting. So I take a reading break.
Okay, fine. No, not everybody's Gopal Bhatta has 16 rounds chanted by 4:30 a.m. Not everybody's like that. Prabhupada, my understanding is, I don't know the detail, But in intervals, he completed his commitment of japa in different intervals, blocks of chanting, and then did other things in between. And that's fine. That's fine. But not, better than just out of aversion, just you understand your nature, and for this period of time, with this amount of chanting is chanting, and it's just it. Chanting. And then reading. And when you're reading, you're focused. And then whatever your other activities are with focus. Dedicated that Krishna should be pleased. Okay? We're going to end. Thank you all very much for coming. And look at this, it's 6 o'clock. Are we right? We're on time, isn't it? Hey, isn't that nice? So what's next on the schedule? Nama Yagya. Who's our Nama Yagya person? Hey, that's what you were rehearsing at home. Oops, I let the cat out of the bag. We invite her, she's not hearing this, by the way. We invite her to come all the way to Gitanagari to sing for the Festival of the Holy Name. No, excuse me, the Memorial Day weekend retreat, because some of us really like her singing. So she didn't hear that. She's not going to get puffed up. Don't worry about her. But, she has a nice quality, not just, voice fluctuation skills and so forth, but bhakti. So Krishna was attracted by that. How about you? Do you like kirtan? Kind of? Sit next to her. You get, by osmosis, it'll be passed on. Just like you're sitting right in front of me. It's going to be, bhakti will be passed on just by your sitting there. Yeah? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'm not sure, because there's so many people. I think not. Okay.
Hare Krishna. So please sit. Unless if you have to leave, you have to leave. But please sit and participate in the chanting of the holy name. At 6:30, we'll have Gaur Arati or Sandhya Arati. And then Nam Yagya will continue. And then at 8, there will be Prasadam. Okay? So please remain here and participate. And you can turn towards the deities as well. Thank you. Please, Hari Bol, please sit down, face the deities, and participate in chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna.
Okay.